Welcome back to Mornings with Dave King and Matt Martin. We're broadcasting from the Thacker Jewelry Studios. Start your story with engagement rings and wedding bands from Thacker Jewelry, online at thackerjewelry.com. And I'm sitting with Jason Corley, the County Commissioner for Precinct 2. Jason, how are you doing this morning?
Oh, doing good. Thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, well, we're glad to have you here. It's been a little while.
Yeah, been a little bit.
Sometimes you come in and you back up somebody. You know, if Dave's out or I'm out, you come in and
yeah. When there's an open seat, I'm
but
happy to come fill in.
Yeah, every now and then we get you in here, but you've been pretty busy as far as the county commissioner goes. There's a lot of work going on as far as roads. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, especially in that eastern part, which you have part of that eastern area that needs a lot of work. As a county commissioner, have you seen any areas that really, really need some work right now?
So, if you remember back in 2019, we passed, Lubbock County voter passed a $100 million bond, and that wasn't to be spent at one time. It was, think of it like a line of credit. So, as those projects came up, we could start working on those. Woodrow Road is definitely a concern. I graduated from Lubbock Cooper in 2001.
A little different now than it was then, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we had a traffic problem that people were a little concerned about back then. So, 20 years ago would have been a great time to go ahead and widen that road out to 3-lane. But, now we're looking at, going to at least, to go into a 4-lane. So that project, I believe we budgeted that thing about $40 million. Engineering on that is nearly completed. It'll be done in 2 phases. We'll go from I-27 to Indiana, and then from Indiana to Slide Road. And then we're kind of juggling that around, working around the loop construction, because they're going to go, they'll kind of split the middle on some of those just to block one intersection. So, they'll go halfway between Indiana and Quaker, and halfway between Quaker and Slide there, just to split that difference.
Yeah.
So you're only blocking one intersection. So, that's kind of what we're looking at is with the traffic. Okay, how do we do our project while they're doing their project? The city's getting ready to, we partnered with them to go ahead and take care of Indiana south of 1585. Also, let's see, University south of 1585 has been annexed down to Woodrow Road. The city's working on that project. And then while we're doing all this, Cooper Schools, as you guys were talking about earlier, they're getting ready to build new high schools and middle schools and everything else. So you've just got a lot of growth exploding in South Lubbock County, and the county, we're just trying to keep up. And it's cheaper in the long run to stay out ahead of your growth than it is to get behind. Look at Austin. When's the last time you tried to drive around down there? I mean, it's ridiculous. Those little Lime scooters that we kind of snickered at here in Lubbock.
Yeah.
they love those things down there because
that's the only way to get around.
Yeah, you can't find a parking spot for anything bigger than a Geo Metro.
Well,
so
the Lubbock's done a good job of having a loop, which means it has things that go in different directions. Everything with Austin is north and south. I mean, they have 3 different highways that go north and south. All of them end up downtown, and but they have almost nothing going east and west. And so the growth all went north and south instead of going east and west. And they're slowly trying to fix that problem, but it's really hard when you're behind the curve.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely.
But so I was wondering, as far as this bond, you've got a bond that's happening with Cooper School District, a lot of which is in your precinct, although, the way that it seems to me that the Lubbock County Commissioners work is they work together a lot. But does a school like that, do they talk to you about the roads that they're going to need whenever they start to build a school? That like, hey, man, we can't build this school if we don't have a road that can handle the school that we're building. Do they ever do stuff like that?
Oh, yes. Mr. Brian out there, he's been really good
about...
Guy. Oh, yeah, great
We've
guy.
had him once or twice here.
Yeah, and he's been pretty quick to, as soon as I got elected, he gave me a call, asked me, if I'd come by and visit with him, and just kind of, gave me the heads up on, he's like, okay, this is where we're growing, this is what we're expecting, this is where, here's our projections. So here's our plan. Can y'all, take a look at yours and let's see what we can do. Just keeping us informed of what their plans are so that we can try to meet those needs as far as lane miles are concerned of road around those schools.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, do you have you looked over this project that they're going to be doing?
No, I haven't. Bond? I haven't seen gone through it all yet. I've got a meeting, I believe next Thursday, over at the administration building to kind of sit down and look through that. But let's see, about a year ago, they'd let us know, hey, we're planning some stuff, probably in this area. So yeah, now that I think they've got the whole plan together, I think we can get a chance to sit down, look at that, and see where it's going to be. But I believe everything that we're doing currently, as far as improving Woodrow Road, that's going to tie in with what they're trying to do.
Yeah. So did y'all have anything going on last night as far as the commissioners' court meeting?
So yesterday, we went ahead and appointed a judge to replace Anne Marie Caruth. She's moved into Ruben Reyes' spot as a district court judge. County Court at Law, Place 3 was open, and we appointed Ben Webb.
Yeah, how many people did y'all have to apply for that?
18.
Okay, so pretty good chunk.
It was a huge chunk, and I want to thank all those men and women who were willing to come forwards and who were willing to serve in their community. You had a wide range and variety of talents up there and experience, and it was really humbling to see so many people willing to come forwards to being willing to accept that job.
And you said the person who got it was David Webb?
I'm
sorry, Ben Webb.
Ben Webb.
Okay.
Ben Webb. Mm-hmm.
What made y'all choose Ben Webb over some of the others? Anything particular?
Well, you look at somebody's experience, what is their background? How does that line up with that court? When you look, that court was about, see if I can remember my numbers on it, about 50% civil. You also had 14% family law, and then the rest was probate. So that's pretty much what runs through that court. It wasn't a criminal court, so you probably, if you're going to appoint somebody, which I always thought it was kind of odd, the county commissioners that were picking judges, and in some instances, I think the bar could probably do a better job of that. But is what it is.
Did you get input from the bar?
From the bar, from a lot of different lawyers, lots of emails, party representatives, anyone and everyone. We were contacted by just about everybody. You could imagine, just to weigh in, just let us know. One of the things I favored pretty heavily was talking with a lot of the trial lawyers who work in that court, who represent people there. Just try to get an understanding of what goes through this court, what kind of temperament are you guys looking for? Yeah.
So how long did that process take?
Let's see. We went into closed session. I think we were back there. Time did we get out? 2:00. We spent at least 3 hours.
Yeah.
That. You have 18 people run for that, so please don't think it was taken lightly on who was chosen. Who was chosen? Yeah, that was a lot of discussion, a lot of back and forth, a lot of pulling people's resumes back out, flipping through it, looking back through our notes. What was that movie with Kevin Costner? Draft Day. Do you remember that one where he's drafting? He's trying to draft a football team. Yeah, that's kind of what it felt like. You just kept going back and forth, and it was a really good discussion. Just going over all the points, and everybody just really fretting and trying to make sure that we were choosing the best person, and it really was. I mean, you were splitting hairs at that level. The talent on there. I was looking at the education of a lot of these people, and I mean, you're seeing of course you're seeing Texas Tech Law School on a lot of them, but
right.
You're also seeing Harvard and Cornell and Pittsburgh, and I mean big universities.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of talent in this community as far as in the legal community here. It was really impressive.
All right, well, let's take a quick break. We're speaking with Jason Corley, County Commissioner. We'll be right back on Mornings with Dave King and Matt Martin. I want to go back to Jason Corley. Jason Corley is the Precinct 2 County Commissioner. And Jason, there's a lot going on as far as the county's concerned. Right now, the big thing is the Expo Center. Mm-hmm. How is that moving along? How's that progressing?
Slowly but surely. One thing going into the COVID pandemic, I hate to say it, usually you want progress on a project, but I'm really happy we didn't have that thing built and open with all the shutdowns.
Could be a lot of problems as far as money and
that was a blessing in disguise. I think it's delayed the LCEC, the nonprofit on trying to raise some money, but those guys are hard at it, and it's trickling in. It's when you can't go door to door and go visit with people, it makes it a little bit tough. So during the pandemic, it was hard on those guys. But they're out there and they're getting after it. The Commissioners Court, we went ahead and we got our board appointed. It's a 9-member board. Each commissioner chose 2 people, and then 2 representatives, and the judge chose the chairman. There'll be 4-year terms, and they're going to rotate off. So
what is the board going to do? Is that going to be a long-term thing, or is that only while they're building it?
it'll be a long-term thing. So think of kind of like the hospital board. The goal on that one was to get the board in place. The board, after construction is finished, they'll go ahead and they're going to hire a management company that's going to oversee the day-to-day operations. But you will have somebody who is appointed to keep an eye on that operation. That's when we set the thing up. We were looking for a pretty diverse bunch, just to make sure we had somebody that could represent the interests of the schools. Also, somebody Carl Issett's on there. Good accounting background. Gary Boren is on there as well. He's got a very strong background in promotions and that kind of thing. He also went out to Vegas, I thought, to help them build an event center out there. So. Very knowledgeable man on that one as well. Gary Greenstreet Construction. He has he's an engineer, has a background and that kind of stuff, so he'll be great during the construction phase. Let's see, Dr. Mitchell. Ted, Ted Mitchell, but his wife's also a doctor.
Okay.
Dr. Mitchell, she's on there as well. Very strong background in equestrian, sports. So we've also got some rodeo guys on there as well. Pretty diverse bunch, just so we can cover all the angles with that facility.
So, is there any type of ETA at all of when you're going to start seeing ground being broken out there?
Not yet. We haven't got everything back from the engineers. We did go ahead and let's see, the way that was set up, what the voters voted in would allows us to go out for you can go out for a bond for that money. So. Let's see. We went out for $5 million to pay for the planning and getting all that ready to go. The concern was during COVID, their banks just really everybody was just kind of holding their chips pretty close, trying to decide what they were going to do, and we only had one bank that was willing to loan on it. We still got a good interest rate, but our bond counsel was looking at it, going, man, nobody is wanting to look at this stuff. So. So he's like, well, let's just borrow what little we need and then wait because, we need the market to go back to normal. It's got to restabilize. If you've only got one bidder, that's a problem. We want to get it back to where, what we were expecting, where you'd have, 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 different banks that would bid on it. So that's, kind of where we're at. So you're kind of looking at the guys doing your engineering going, take your time, don't get in any big rush. Not when, when we're looking at the expense side of it, that's a concern right there.
Yeah. So as far as engineering, have they given you any indication of what it's going to look like yet?
In the preliminaries, this is going to be a big metal building. So
that's what
let's start with that. Yeah,
Okay.
It will be. I guarantee you that it will be a big metal building on about 80 acres with an 80-acre parking lot. So that's right now that's what we're looking at. Also. One of the things that myself and Commissioner C, we really harped on this was, since we don't know where we're going to be at on the funding, then this is going to have to be built in phases. So, that's one thing that we made certain of, that everybody understood. That don't come in here expecting to being able to, hey, this thing cost this many millions of dollars. Well, we don't have that. Well, too bad. What do you want to do? Do you want to sit and wait, or or do you want to go ahead and get the arena built? So it is going to be designed to be built in phases, so that Randy Jordan and had always made he was pretty upfront about that from the beginning. But it'll have to be built in stages. So trying to manage expectations.
So as far as there's a legislative session going on right now, what is the legislative priorities of the county right now?
With the county, right. Well, probably just trying to keep a close eye on things. Stuff that affects our jail can get very expensive. So, that's something that I know Sheriff Rowe will be watching, as well as Commissioner's Court. Just, how does what they do in Austin affect your pocketbook in Lubbock? That's what we keep a close eye on.
Mm-hmm. Are y'all trying to get a new district court out here?
There's been a lot of talk about that as well. So let's see if we've got the numbers for it. But I think we have to wait till after the census to be able to do it.
Makes sense. All right, well, Jason, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, Jason Corley, Precinct 2 County Commissioner for Lubbock County. We do tomorrow. We're going to have the Councilman Massengale on to talk about city business. So we got a lot going on around the city. And Chad Hasty's next on News Talk 95.1 FM, 790 AM, KFYO, mornings with Dave King and Matt Martin.